Ma'am?
Wait. Hi. Fly high with English. In today's class, I'm going to talk about why passive voice. Sneha, you are disturbing me with this apple. You know, yesterday I ate an apple. You know that? Every day I eat an apple, right? Yesterday also I ate an apple. I ate an apple. Okay. If I write an apple was eaten by me. Think, how's that? I read the Ramayana. I read the Ramayana. Okay, I am writing it in passive voice. The Ramayana was read by me. Okay, how does it sound? I ate an apple. That's fine. Why do I need to write an apple was eaten by me? It sounds a bit crazy. Doesn't look so nice. I read the Ramayana. Yeah, I read the Ramayana. The Ramayana was read by me. Oh, it seems a bit crazy to use passive voice, but nevertheless we know that there is some use for the passive voice. Otherwise, why there is so much of all this halla gulla hangama over changing from active voice to passive voice? There must be something. Now let's see, why do we use passive voice in the first place? Okay, let me tell you one thing. First one, the focus. We use passive voice when we want to focus the object in a sentence. You already know there is a subject, there is an object and a verb. So when you want to focus on the object, not the subject, then we use the passive voice. For example, this is the one we learned from school. Rama killed Ravana. We never forget this. Nobody ever forgets, I think. Rama killed Ravana, and changing it into passive voice, Ravana was killed by Rama. Okay, here, why did we do this? Why did we change active voice to passive voice? Rama killed Ravana. Here, the subject is the focus. But when we change it into passive voice, here the object is the focus. Especially when you are telling a story in the point of view of Ravana as the protagonist, as the person whom we want to, a person of interest whom we want to focus, then we use the object. So in this case, using a passive voice seems very natural. For example, Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin. Right? Yeah. We want to focus on the object. Now, penicillin was discovered by Alexander Fleming. You know, penicillin, the discovery of penicillin has really made an impact in the history of science. It's very important. So the focus on penicillin is obvious, and that's why in this case using a passive voice to highlight penicillin is appropriate. So in this case, we can use passive voice. Second situation where we use passive voice is when we don't know the subject. When we don't know the subject. Okay, so my red pen was stolen. My red pen was stolen. I don't know the subject. Who did it? I don't know. The wall was dismantled. Who did it? Probably officials or somebody else. We don't know. No, we are not sure. So when we don't know the subject, then we use this passive voice because it comes in handy to write the sentence. In the third situation where we use passive voice, here the subject is obvious. We don't need to mention the subject. The subject is quite obvious. For example, the thief was arrested. In this case, you know that the thief was arrested, obviously it is by police. Right? So here the subject is obvious. You don't need to mention and be wordy. When you want to avoid wordy sentences, maybe here we can delete this. We can eliminate the wordy, some words which are obvious and go with the short form of the sentence. And the fourth situation where we want to use the passive voice is when we want to talk about avoiding responsibility. Nobody is interested in taking responsibility. Then we prefer to take the passive voice. For example, taxes need to be paid. Taxes need to be paid, or taxes need to be raised seem to be more appropriate. Taxes need to be raised. Yeah, we know when the government want to say that we need to raise taxes. That is not the tone. The tone is used is different. Taxes need to be raised. That means the government is trying to avoid the responsibility. Strict laws need to be passed. Again, the government is trying to avoid responsibility. It is not saying we need to or we are going to add strict laws or we are going to pass strict laws. It is going to say strict laws need to be passed. So that means they are trying to avoid the responsibility on the government and making it obvious that means they are not taking the responsibility or avoiding the responsibility. So these are some of the situations where we feel there is a need of using the passive voice. But in this case where I said I ate an apple was eaten by me, it seems too crazy. Maybe that was crazy, but all these other situations weren't crazy. Definitely there is a need of passive voice, and when we need them, we need to use them. What do you think? Keep thinking. Let's meet again for the next class.